some more. There's another chair. Captain Dykes, like to just a few more. All right. Do we have any more chairs? Yep. There's a seat right over here if you'd like to join us over here, Captain.
That's the hot seat there.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Yep. Gentlemen, if you'd like to join us, there's some seats. If you'd like to join us, it's okay. Yeah, you're more than welcome. Okay. You're more than welcome. Ah, there it is.
We're good.
All right. So here, I'll give you some space. No, no.
See, it's nice up here.
Welcome, gentlemen. Welcome. I'll let you use mine, but I'm 20/20 in one eye and 2200 in the other, so it might give you a headache. All right. All right, so, yeah. Right. And I just wanted to make sure it's structured. So, okay, on or off? Okay, it's been requested that everyone turns your microphones on, please. Everyone, just press. All right, so I am going to call the Public Safety Committee meeting to order. Today's date is June 16th, and it is 11:34. So can the clerk please take a roll call?
Sure. Legislator Ryan?
Here.
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 McCarron?
Here.
Chairman Garland?
Here.
All present.
All right, the first order of business is the approval of minutes from the previous meeting. Are there any objections to the previous meetings? Seeing none, the meetings are approved. Now, just for everyone's information, we have been asked when anyone speaks, if you will please give your name, all right, and your title. All right, so with that being said, today's meeting, it is an informational meeting. We have Sheriff Shelley with us and some of his staff. So we just want to thank you for coming. This is mainly an informational meeting about the merger between the jail and the penitentiary. So at this time, just give us like an outline, Sheriff.
Yeah, so this is, there's a lot to this topic. It's in its preliminary stages since the county executive announced it March 26th. So with that said, I'm not really sure what's on your minds that we can help you with because it's very preliminary. History-wise, I can talk about the condition of our two jails. I can talk about our personnel. I can talk about different costs of different things. You really need to help me with what's on your mind so I can answer your questions.
Okay, well, I guess would be the pros. There's pros and cons, of course. So with the merger, of course, we could assume that in terms of administrative cost and other things that it would help.
Yeah, combining the jails as was proposed in 2022 would have obvious cost savings.
Okay.
Definitely in personnel. And personnel is where we're struggling. I think we're down around 80 positions at the moment. We survived that because we have a current group of people that are willing to work the overtime. For example, in 2025, the downtown jail cost 125,000 hours of overtime. I don't have the numbers this year. We're halfway through, but you know, we're fortunate at the moment, if you will, that we have a group of people willing to work that overtime.
Mm-hmm.
But as time goes on and people don't want to work the overtime, that's where we're going to get in trouble.
Okay. Now, as far as the state, do we see any obstacles as far as, the state? Of course, this has to be okayed.
Yeah, so we went to Maricopa County, for example, it's in Arizona. It's one of the largest counties. And Phoenix is at the center of Maricopa County,
Yes.
capital of Arizona. And they just built a new jail. They have 7 jails. We looked at one of the most recent ones they built. And they have 3 deputies watching 320 inmates successfully and safely. That's not an option for us in Onondaga County with the Commission of Corrections and things like that. But that type of design is, things we're looking at as a more efficient way to watch your inmates with less personnel.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions? Legislator Knapp?
Thanks for coming, Sheriff. I know your current office is in pretty rough shape. Could you talk about that a little bit more? I know that's something we need to be, that needs to be addressed, whether we do it up there or someplace else.
Yeah, so there's different discussions, whether we're gonna just move the jail up there, the whole operation up there. If I was gonna prioritize my needs, my number one priority would be the pilots to the helicopter. They're in a building that's been condemned for some time, and there's issues with leaking roofs and mold. And one of the chief pilot actually paid for a air quality test out of his pocket. So although the conversations about combining jails, if you ask me my number one priority, that's the safety and the health of my people, and that would be those pilots at the moment.
Okay.
And having a new headquarters, that'd be nice. Is that higher up on my list? No.
Legislator Ryan?
You know, I kind of get all over the place here, but if you were to move, just logistically speaking, the jail downtown out there, how would you facilitate the transports? Would that be a need for more staffing, or are you allowed to do Zoom, for arraignments or?
Yeah, so Zooming, they haven't allowed since July of 2023.
Right.
So we can't do Zooms anymore. There are some scenarios where a judge might ask to do a Zoom just because the person can't get to court for whatever reason, health reasons, whatever. So Zooms are out. But the ideal scenario would be similar to what Oneida County is already doing. You have your jail attached to a courtroom, a legal courtroom. And although some judges may not want to come to the courtroom, it would save a lot of the transports. You're not going to get out of like county court. A person has to come to county court for something like that, but your arraignments, which are the bulk of the transport work, could be done at Jamesville with a jail attached to our courtroom.
Put Cap Court up there too. Yeah,
Correct.
exactly.
How many of those you do in a day? I mean, any idea?
It's going to vary by the day, because you're not going to be able to count just the number of people coming in and out of our jail. A lot of people just are held up for Cap Court and then get released. So I don't have that exact number with me. If you asked me ahead of time, I probably could have come
Yeah,
up with it, but
A lot.
Yeah.
it's a number with bail reform. A lot of those people
Yeah.
get rain and loose.
Okay.
We wouldn't have the staff to transport downtown back and forth.
Probably not. Because right now with the tunnel system, it's easy to do those arraignments at Cap Court. But the unknown of what's going to happen with the public safety building, what's going to happen with the tunnels, all those things, it would resolve those, have a jail attached to a courtroom.
Okay.
Has there been any conversations about plans for the PSB or any of this stuff, or are we really?
Those are questions, the sheriff doesn't, I'm just a squatter. I don't really own any buildings.
Yeah.
So those are questions for, the county executive's office to, what is the long-term plan for that?
And you haven't seen anything. I guess that's my question is.
I mean, it's we try and do the connecting corridor. We build this community grid, and we try and do this connecting corridor, connecting our downtown with, what's over to the most? I'm drawing a blank. Army Square. So if we're trying to connect SU to Army Square and Army Square to the inner harbor, do you want a jail in the middle of all that?
Mm-hmm.
No. So if the answer is no, but that property now becomes valuable, potentially you could sell it to a developer and, have your jailhouse apartments or what have you. So, I think this downtown real estate becomes very valuable, which will obviously offset the cost of building a new jail. This new jail, I think a lot of people are realizing that the Jamesville facility is actually in very good condition. And some of the buildings we're not using right now could be rehabbed as part of this project at a huge cost savings.
What's the useful life of the jail downtown?
Well, a jail is not like your house because the people that live in the jail don't like their house and are mean to it. So the outside structure is, say, 30 years old. It's a little over 30 years old. But the inside structure is more like 130 years old. For example, in January of this year, a pipe broke in the rec area where the inmates go out and get their recreation. A pipe broke and flooded the 5th floor in parts up to the level of the electrical outlets. and it's on the 5th floor, so where'd all the water go? It went down, and a lot of the water gets into the conduit, and the conduit's poured into the concrete floors. So we can't get to that conduit to fix it. So that infrastructure just keeps deteriorating. I would never recommend building a vertical jail for this reason, just because of those challenges.
Okay, anyone else? All right, well, I just had a question because of the space up there, Air One was mentioned, all right, and you said the existing like structures. Are you thinking about centralizing any of the other services like maintenance? Because there is a lot of space up there.
Yeah, in a perfect world, I'd be asking to move our whole operation up there, our headquarters, our academy, our
That's
our
what I was-
helicopter, our bombs, everything. I'd even ask, the chief brought a map of the area up there.
Yeah.
The 100 acres that are there, not all of it's quite available, but even something as simple, we have like 250 vehicles in our fleet, and to have a maintenance facility with a mechanic on site, I would ask to move the whole operation up there.
What would the figure be to do that?
What's that?
What would the figure be to do that?
I'm not a developer, I'm the sheriff, so I'd only be guessing.
Yeah,
You got to guess?
But running my operation's never going to get cheaper. Taking care of inmates is never going to get cheaper. The cost of maintaining the downtown justice center, to me, if you've ever had a vehicle and it starts nickel and diming you, and you're like, you know what, it's time to get a new vehicle. And in my opinion, the downtown justice center is at that point where it's just going to continually nickel and dime us. And we can't get out of the fact that we have to watch inmates. That's just a fact, and it's never going to get cheaper. You know, and a good example of that, and something I can't predict, if you remember inmate Tillman, who stabbed 2 deputies, you remember this in January of 25,
yes.
I got ordered by the commission to take him to Oneida County, and it was costing us about $20,000 a month. And then after he was deemed unfit to go to trial, we were able to send him to a state facility. It's now costing us $40,000 a month for inmate Tillman. I can't predict something like that. The cost of inmate health care is never going to get cheaper, and we have to do it. There's no way around it. So if we're going to do it, let's try and find the most economical way to do it going forward.
Okay,
Are there any plans to do any studies on our facilities for the foreseeable future, the next year or two? Whether it be Janesville, downtown, PSB, any of them?
I don't know that we have to spend money on a study when I can just take you over and show you what I'm talking about.
okay.
I don't know, my opinion.
All right. Very nice. In terms of housing, we've got current housing, anticipating the merger, all right, what would you be looking at? Because right now you've got X amount of housing. If you're going to merge, then you have to look at mental health, how that's expanding, women, and other things. So I'm pretty sure that's something that you have thought about.
Yeah, so inmate population is something we've had a lot of discussions about. Chief Dober is truly the expert, like this chart she put together. This is comparing 5 different jails in our region, and we're this line in the middle. What's the most interesting to me on this chart is our inmate populations is what this is showing. And when our inmate population increases and decreases, all the other jails on this thing follow the same pattern. And what I'm trying to predict with this stuff is where does our inmate population level out?
Right.
You know, in the past, you can see it kind of leveled out. And we need to predict that to figure out how big of a jail to build.
Mm-hmm.
You know, on the surface, I would say we need a 1,000-bed facility. But I don't know what the future brings. Any change to bail reform will change our inmate population drastically.
Oh, yes.
And I think a lot of politicians are realizing that this may have been done, bail reform with good intentions, but it's having some negative results. So if Albany changes any form of bail reform, that will change our inmate population drastically, which we need to have a plan for.
Okay.
And if you, Chief, did you want to add anything about female inmates are a challenge because we're not
Right.
set up properly. The commission will tell you that, to handle our female inmates.
Yeah.
And that's something we could fix with a new structure.
And if I could also ask Chief, because you gave a very good example of with the medical hub, when you were talking about with the expansions and the certain hubs and things like that. So if you could share that.
So, what we need is a female infirmary too as well.
Yes.
For the Commissioner of Corrections. So the one area that's at Jamesville right now that's not being used, that could be refurbished, would put something into a male infirmary and a female infirmary, and then that would bring us up to code with Commissioner of Corrections.
Would you state your name if you can again there?
Sorry.
Yeah, okay.
Chief Diane Dover.
Yes, because that's one of the things I remember when we spoke about this earlier, talking about consolidating the pods and then having a central medical area that they would be able to use. Okay. All right. So, does anyone else?
Last question.
I was gonna
Last
say
question, a
Matt.
little bit off, slightly off topic, but maybe not totally. Where are we with New York State now as far as accepting state inmates that are supposed to be going there? Are we still big backlog that we're having to keep, or are they starting to accept them again, or where
They
are we?
cleared that up last fall.
Oh, good. Okay, excellent.
And they paid us
Good.
1.3 or 4 million.
Excellent.
Good.
They didn't pay everybody, but they did pay.
Yeah. Well, good job with that.
All right. Now, transportation. When we talk about, the arraignments and other things, that's one side of it. But right now, where the jail is located with families, visitors, they're able to come and they have that access. It's my understanding when they made Jamesville, Central was supposed to make a hub up there, but that never happened. When this merger happens, will anybody be speaking with Central? Because when I hear about Ubering and Lyft, that's a nice thought in theory, but we have to have something else.
Correct. A discussion has to be made with Centro
Mhm.
to bring that online to their lines. But keep in mind, we have 150, give or take, inmates at Jamesville as we speak.
Right.
And all those people are getting visitation.
Yep. So you got 150 right now, and we're looking at,
It's up and down daily.
and we're looking at 1,000 bed. So that's quite big. Well, the land and the space is there. So, okay. If you'd like to, you can just pass that map. Yep, yep. Start around that way. I think it's here, so that way they can take a look. Okay. Now, as far as the merger, what do you see in terms of personnel? Will we be hiring more? Will we be less, letting people go through attrition? What?
Our goal would always be to fill all our positions
Mm-hmm.
and not depend on overtime.
All right.
Like I said, we're fortunate that we have a group of people willing to work that overtime.
Mm.
But the day will come where the younger generation's not going to want to work it.
Yes.
And then what are we going to do?
Mm-hmm.
Merging the jails and combining unions will help a lot because the downtown union has the medical waivers and there isn't a single person, deputy working at Jamesville that has the same waiver.
Right.
So that's a huge plus. Changing schedules. Chief Dober's very closely tracked since we implemented the new schedule 2 years ago, the patrol schedule to Jamesville, and how our sick leave went down with that better schedule,
Mm-hmm.
which is obvious savings. And we have people volunteering for the overtime, so it's rare to get ordered for a shift at Jamesville because of the schedule and the benefits that come from it.
Okay. On the labor side, if there is a merger, will there be any consideration, discussion as far as merging the unions and creating
Yeah,
just?
so the proposal will be the same exact thing that was proposed 3 years ago, just in reverse.
Okay. And what do you think the outcome will be on that?
I think Rich knows because he just did a hump. One union
I
will
have to
fight.
ask, yes.
One union will fight that.
Yes. No, here's mine. We appreciate that.
I just, with regard to what would happen with the unions, I prefer not to speculate at this point because it's really not up to the county. One or the other of the unions, the current unions, CSEA Corrections or the DSBA, would have to file a petition with the state to essentially absorb the other. It would go to PERB. PERB would have to make a determination that there'd be a hearing, evidence presented, they'd have to present their cases. So speculating on the outcome of that, at this point, it's hard to tell how that would go. I'm certain that there are preferences. I'm not going to give an opinion on that, but we just wouldn't have any idea at this point which union we'd be dealing with, or if PERB would say, no, you can run it with two, which happened in Erie County. So we just don't know.
We thank you for clarifying that for us. Oh, please state your name and your position.
Carl Hummel, Commissioner of Personnel.
Thank you, Carl. Now, are there any other questions?
I guess I just want to clarify. So the county executive at his State of the County said he was, going to go down this path. Has there been any discussions with your office at all about how to move forward or any broaching of any issues?
Yeah, 100%. We both formed committees.
Okay,
Chief Dober's heading up my committee for this proposal. There's a meeting last week, and there's another meeting scheduled for the first part of July.
okay. And so the chief, your committee, what is the angle, or what are you guys trying to focus on right now?
Right now, we're trying to focus on what our needs are for expanding or building on to that. We also had, I don't know what his title is, what is Archie's?
Facilities
Yeah.
Commissioner.
He was there as well, and he's gonna have to come up and he's gonna look at the facility, and then we would have to find like an architect, engineer, all that, to figure out what we need to add on and build on. So that's where we are right now. We're not looking at
Okay.
a lot of other things other than what is our basic needs if we combined, and how many buildings we would have to
Okay.
build.
All right. Do you have any sort of timeline of how things are moving? Are we talking a 2-year, 4-year, 10-year program?
I believe I was told somewhere around 2 to 3 years, but I would
Okay.
have to defer
All right.
to.
There's too many variables to say at the moment. I mean, with all the construction going on, can we even find a guy to pour concrete? I don't know. It's a lot. And, Micron is a big piece of the puzzle. We really have some unknowns. What does Micron mean to law enforcement in Onondaga County? I went to Maricopa County to help figure that out. And what I figured out in Maricopa County is there's no comparison, because it's not Micron, it's a different company from Taiwan, but they built it in an area with nothing around it. So when it comes to planning in that area, you can plan whatever you want because there's nothing around you. Where obviously Onondaga County, we have different variables and obstacles, and definitely when you bring, like I talked to the plumbers and steam fitters a month ago, and they expect to bring 3,500 workers in here. And those 35 workers, this is their words, the union's word, union president, they're going to work hard and they're going to play hard.
Mhm.
And play hard translates to a little bit more business for the sheriff. How much? I don't know. How many people in the jail? I don't know. As we continue to bring the workers in, our business is going to get busier with traffic, and as these people play hard wherever they are going to stay, which I don't know. I don't see the problems at Micron so much, other than, traffic and maybe some accidents. The problems are going to be where these people are playing hard. Where's that going to be? I don't know. Tip Hill, maybe.
Hopefully.
I don't know.
Yeah, a couple bars.
Okay. Oh, are there any other questions? Anything further?
I would say
Legislator
let's
Knapp?
take our time and do it right, do it once, and get it right.
All right.
And then you have to invest in maintaining it. Chief Dober has Daryl Mercer up there. He's maintaining the facility. I mean, he's there. When an inmate rips the sink off the wall, she's not making a phone call. But, her people are making one call. He has a sink available.
Mhm.
Things aren't getting flooded on the 4th floor and going down through the building and wrecking everything.
Hmm.
And we want to look at some other more local jails. Dutchess County's built a fairly new jail. Ontario County's built a fairly new jail. We'll make those meetings with the commission and make sure that what we're looking at, they agree to. Get some design they say no to, and where are you?
Okay. Well, if there's no more questions further, we just want to thank you. Thank you very much for coming, Sheriff, staff, and Captain. All right, good to see you. All right, thank you.
Well, he's a chief.
Well, yes, that's right.
Congrats, Greg.
There you go.
Thanks.
Congrats, that's right.
I'd be happy to answer any questions going forward.
Okay, I'll be reaching out. Okay. Thank you very much for coming. All
Thank you for
right.
the invite.
Yes. Okay. So We'll give them a moment and then on to our next order of business, which I believe is Chairwoman Watts. All right.
Sorry for interrupting the meeting, Mr. Chairman.
No, take your time.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right, so now we're going to be joined by Chairwoman Watts. Is that? There you go.
It's my end of committee presentations for a few months, right? So I wanted to, which order is the agenda?
Is the, let's see, take that down on the bottom.
Excellent, thank you. So we have one more committee, outside board commissions. We've been talking about these for the entire year, and that is the Justice Oversight, Justice Center Oversight Committee, and we have four vacancies that we need to be filling, and they each have different parameters. These were shared back in the beginning. They just didn't get included in the swath of things we already did, and so I would really appreciate if you all have some folks that you would like to suggest. If you know, now that we're narrowed down to one, maybe we have a little more brain space to kind of process that. Would really love to be able to put those folks on sooner than later, as those vacancies have been sitting there for a while. So we need at least one individual that has law enforcement background, one that has more civil service, civil rights background, and then two that are just, there's no particular background required for them. So if you can give thought to that, send me, text me, email me any names that you might have, and how to contact that person. That would be greatly appreciated. Any questions on that
Okay.
one? Great. And then the second piece of mine is just to go over a quick start of the budget process. So the county executive branch right now is in gear. They're doing their pro forma budget process. And so we are looking at what this year's budget process is going to look like for us. As you all know, we've been having these informationals where these different department heads have been coming in and telling us about what they're doing, what some of their needs might be. Hopefully now we have some anticipation of what's coming. And we're looking to have the committees have a more involved presence this year in the budget process, and kind of treat it akin to how we do resolutions, or in the typical is that it comes through the committee first. And so looking for the budget to be reviewed essentially by the committee first, as hopefully folks who are more invested and involved in the departments that are under your committee's purview. And so here for public safety, we've got district attorney, emergency management, emergency communications, probation, and the sheriff's budget. And what I would love to see us do is to have someone kind of be on point for each department across the entire legislature, so that there's someone that we can go to. So like, McCarran, I have you currently matched with probation. So if something comes up in the community where we have a question about the probation budget, I can come to McCarran and say, have you figured this piece out? Do you know what's going on here? That one's probably not a good example for like an amendment request, but let's say in the emergency management budget, if it was deemed that this forthcoming kind of major SNAP cut is going to cause maybe a food emergency, right? In a hypothetical situation, then the person who's matched with the emergency food budget, we would go and say, which I'm hoping to actually have you now point with the emergency management one, would come to you and say, hey, trying to deal with this emergency piece. Have you talked to anybody about this? Can we work together on it? So that way we're kind of sharing the load in a way that matches our committees. And then the idea, I know everyone's already doing their homework on their own. The idea is just that there's at least one person among the 17 of us that's really delving deep on every department's kind of current standing with the budget, and being a point for any kind of special requests. And so then the way that the schedule then would play out is we're looking to do joint committees. So historically, the budget has been presented to the Ways and Means Committee exclusively, and then other legislators were welcome to join. we're looking to actually just have officially joint committee meetings. And we've met with Christy Smiley just to go over this to make sure that this would work okay on their end. So essentially, like, there would be one day that's dedicated to Ways and Means with the Health and Human Services Committee, where they would review all the ones under. And so the same thing would be true here of the Public Safety Committee. Still working on the details of that. I know you all shared your availabilities before, so trying to be mindful of that as we're scheduling these to keep it as matching with your schedule as possible. Obviously, budget season, I just want to remind us all, is always different. It's a lot more involved for a few weeks, so make sure we're planning on that. It would start on September 15th, which is the day, according to the charter, that the county executive has to present his budget to us as a legislature by, and then it'd be immediately followed by the CFO, Christy Smiley, and then the capital improvement plan on the following day, and then we would go into these joint committees. I don't want to hand you this because I'm still working on matching your schedules with the actual matchup of the committees, but the idea would be that we would have these joint committees, they come present. We want to keep those presentations very streamlined, very entirely budget focused, right? So right now is when we ask program questions when they come to us, or by email, or however we correspond. This is fully and wholly focused on their budgets when they come to present, but then we can interact with them on their budgets in these presentations. And then following it, this is probably the newest thing that we're looking to do, which is that as a committee you would meet, and the committee chairs are going to present to the Ways and Means Committee saying, this is what our committee thinks. So the Public Safety Committee, McCarran's got thoughts on probation, Knapp's got thoughts on emergency management, Garland's got thoughts on sheriff, right? So everyone has their different things. And then we're coming to this table with the budget that they presented to us, where you have this Public Safety Committee meeting where you say, hey, we have this request for this amendment. I want to propose that we amend X for probation. This is a cut. I don't see why we're spending this money. I don't think we need to. I want to propose that we cut it, and or any contingencies. So contingencies, right, as we can put all of a line, we can put some of a line into contingency if we feel like we want to have folks come back to us to check in with us before money gets spent on any particular part of their budget. So the idea would be you would each bring the budgets you've been actively reviewing, you've now heard these presentations, and as a committee, you're putting together, this is what we, the Public Safety Committee, think should happen with the departments that are under our kind of purview. And then as committee chair, Garland would come to Ways and Means and say, this is what our committee thinks. And then it would move from there into the Ways and Means report if Ways and Means approves it. So essentially just significantly more involved in the process at a committee level, but I know everyone's been involved in different ways already. So for some of you, it might feel like a big change. Some of you might be like, hey, I already did this all along, so it's no biggie to me. But this is what we're looking at. And so I wanted to just run through it to engage with any questions, concerns, thoughts that you might have, and then I'll try schedule a matching and email this out to everyone.
So just for clarity, so like the budget presentation, as you said, was traditionally done to Ways and Means, and being public safety member, I would go every day. So instead you would just have a specific committee meeting mirroring the existing way it's done.
Let me clarify that. So there'd be public safety would have two meetings. One is a joint meeting with Ways and Means, where you're getting you're just listening to the presentations, asking questions. And then the second public safety meeting would be you all, this actual table, discussing what you heard, any amendments, any cuts, any contingencies.
And then it would have to be presented back to Ways and Means before the Ways and Means vote.
By the committee chair, but you all wouldn't need to attend that meeting. So that's just exclusively committee chairs. I mean, you're welcome to.
Yeah, yep, okay.
Okay. And once you have your structure outline ready, then you'll let us have the dates and the times, deadlines of when everything has to be done.
Exactly.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yep. And you all already got emails, but I will also resend those because there's a few small changes I made as well in terms of matching of departments, so that you can run point. And I'd like to get this all finalized here in the next week or so. So if for some reason you're like, I don't want to do probation, I'd rather you let me know that now so we can, kind of look at shuffling the deck.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions? Chairman Lawrence?
Great.
right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions or anything? All right. Seeing as there is no further
Motion to
business.
adjourn.
Yeah, do we have a second? All right, all in favor? All opposed? All right, motion is carried. The meeting is adjourned at 12:07 PM and is scheduled to reconvene, if I'm correct, July 21st at 11:30 AM, going by the schedule that we have online.
Today's schedule.